All right, this is July 10th, and this is our Hump Day Zoom. Today's session is all about Divine Alchemy. And I am Reverend Chris, and welcome. And I'm glad you are participating, and I'm glad you're here to receive what the angels and the Master of Saint Germain are going to bring you later. So, that being said, what is Divine Alchemy? Why do you need it? And like I just said before I turned on the recording, you do need it. You need to know what it is and how it operates. Because as divine creator beings, which we are, the creative switch is always on. There's no way to shut off that switch. Okay? We are always creating at various levels. And as we have risen up in vibration, as we're getting higher and higher, and moving into our crystalline forms and the new earth, and heading toward ascension and the Christed light, the Christed consciousness, all of this absolutely is making, hey, there's Courtney, good to hear you too. We'll see you. We are moving into a place where we really have got to be on the ball. Carla, yes, you made it. Good to hear you and see you. We really have to be aware of what we're creating, because we're creating all the time. That switch is always on, so that means that everything, comes from us is going into the mix of what we are creating for ourselves, for others, for the world, for the planet, for, in totality. And we have to be way aware of how this is operating and what our control mechanisms are. And we have to be aware of what we're putting out there, because we're creating as much when we're thinking low vibrational negative stuff, that's going into the creative tunnel. I call it the manifesting pipeline. And the good stuff goes in there, and then we have negative stuff goes in there. So we want to make sure that we are keeping a positive balance. Am I telling everybody to go back into the old school way of teaching people to only think positive thoughts? Well, no, because it's impossible to do that. It is possible to get to a place where you are in a more neutral position, and you are moving into and in a positive polarity, but there always will be resistance, and an opposition coming in, and experiences that you're going to have that are going to challenge the way you think about things and the way you do things, and challenge your preferences and your beliefs. And those are going to create friction and some negative thoughts or emotions. The trick is going to be, as we move through this and move into awareness that we are having these emotions and that we are putting out this energy, is to then counterbalance it by saying, no, I really don't want to put that energy out. I'm seeing this, I'm processing it, I'm letting it go, and then I'm filling the space with love and light and gratitude, so that I am counteracting the negative. That's just one example, all right, of ways that we can sort of guide the ship, of our manifestation. So what we're going to talk about today is all about this. It's about the ins and outs. It's not going to be everything. I have 4 of the people here today, I think. Yeah, me included, I guess. We have Naima and Susan, and we have Mike, who finished taking my Divine Alchemy. Whoops, somebody else just came in. Jenny, there she is. Hello, Jenny.
Hello.
We have 4 people here, or three of my students here from the Divine Alchemy course that I just finished teaching, a month ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that. And so this is not necessarily news for them. I may be showing them, you know, a little different direction, adding a little bit too. But these people have, by taking this course and learning the deeper aspects of alchemy, are really starting to put this into practice in their lives to create things that assist their clients, help them move through day to day and different experiences in rather wonderful and unique ways. And we'll talk about what they've done, and I'll let them explain since they're here a little bit later. So we're not going to go into the depth of the course at this time. We're going to go into the basics. And the beloved the Archangel Jophiel is here with us, and so is Saint Germain. Lauren, welcome. Good to see you here. I'm glad you made it. Are going to come in a little while, and they are going to kind of attune everybody, you know, bring them into alignment and attune all your creative powers, your energies, and your abilities. To make sure everything's working the way it should, that there's no corruption, there's nothing getting in the way that's keeping you from creating what you intend to create, blocking anything. And we're also then going to, Saint Germain is going to clear from you anything that would be keeping you from receiving, from manifesting into the physical, the things that you are intending to create. And I'll teach you a little thing about how to clear that manifesting pipeline once in a while as well. So when we talk about divine alchemy, as I said earlier, it's always on. But what is divine alchemy? People talk about the science of alchemy and how it's about turning lead into gold. And in my way of thinking, that is a very base, low vibrational, 3D way of thinking about alchemy. Because scientists have been trying to do it at the physical level, you know, working physically and with atoms and energies and all different physical things. But from what I understand of alchemy and how I work with it, divine alchemy is basically the manipulation of creation. We work in the zero point field, and that's part of the alchemy course, is connecting everybody to that field to work in a much deeper way with the divine matrix, the universe, and all of its different parts, to take it apart like Tinker Toys and rearrange things and put it back together. Those are the kind of things that divine alchemy is about. It's about working with the basic building blocks of creation and fostering that creation into your reality, or into the reality of one of your clients or students or a family member, you know, into the environment, using what we learn about divine alchemy to do those things. And so that's what divine alchemy, let me just say this, Saint Germain is what we call the Chohan of the seventh ray, which is the purple ray, violet ray. And Saint Germain is the ascended master who teaches manifestation, teaches alchemy, right? That's what he teaches, is alchemy. He was famous in his lifetime, not just for manifesting things into the physical plane, because manifestation basically is kind of a reorganization. You know, if you say, well, I want $100, then the universe finds a way to funnel something that brings you $100 into your physical existence. It takes things that are already there and just rearranges them and redirects them to you. And the other part, the deeper part of alchemy, is precipitation. And what that is creating something from nothing, creating from scratch, taking all of the ingredients together in the causal planes, in the 0 point planes, and taking all of the things and putting them together there and literally dropping them down into the physical plane in completed manifest form. And what Saint Germain was famous for was he used to precipitate. He used to precipitate crystals and gems. He was most famous for his amethysts. And he would, because he was precipitating them, they had no flaws in them. They were precipitated in their purest form and structure. And if you read, there is a book called Saint Germain on Alchemy that you can get, and I will type that here. Saint Germain on Alchemy. And you can get that through the Summit Lighthouse. Or you can get it on, Amazon as well. But the Summit Lighthouse is a really good resource for a lot of different things. All right, so Saint Germain used to do that. That is the purest of alchemy and the purest of our creative powers that we were given. All right, when we're told, when the Bible records that we were created, in God's image, we were created as creators. We were created as creator beings. And we naturally create. It's what we do all the time. That's why that button is always on. You can't turn it off. It's a necessary part of our existence in the physical plane and our existence in a free will universe. That we're constantly creating things that change our experience in one way or another. And we chose to come in to do this. And once you learn, one, that you can do this, and two, how to do it, it's magic. I mean, literally, it is magic. It's like there are times when I get into my creative mode, messing with this stuff and dealing with it and creating in the causal plane and bringing new things into being, that literally I feel like a magician. I feel like, like Mickey in the Sorcerer's Apprentice. I literally I'm so full with joy when I'm doing that, because it is amazing. And so that's when people say, they talk about turning lead into gold. In the pure sense of divine alchemy, that is done not by physical means, but it is done by metaphysical means. It's taking and changing the entire structure of one thing and transmuting it to another. In the same way, when we learn how to do this, and that we can do it, and to control it, we can do things like a group or individually. The power of the group is so much better, but it can be done individually depending on what we are given as gifts, is to change the environment. We could literally transmute the Fukushima radiation that's in the Pacific Ocean, transmute that and neutralize it. We could do that. I've been thinking about that for quite a while, and I haven't quite got the green light on that yet. But that's something that I would put a group of people together for, is that we would get together in a group and we would work on transmuting that radioactivity to neutralize it. Wouldn't that be an awesome thing? But that's the kind of thing that's possible when we learn how to do it, learn how to control it, and what we can do. There is so much, and we're talking levels above law of attraction. Okay, law of attraction is kind of like your first grade primer on mathematics, learning how to add and subtract and maybe multiply a few things. But you got to get up to the higher levels. You've got to learn more. And you already have the abilities are built in as you have risen up. The training wheels, so to speak, have been taken off because the lower vibrational energies are not there to hinder and slow down what you're putting out. And so it's very important to learn, all right, law of attraction is here, and knowing that it works all the time and how to do this. One of the biggest things, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about divine alchemy or the lower level law of attraction stuff, one of the biggest things that we have to learn is to be detached from the outcome. We have to be emotionally separated from the thing that we are desiring to create. We need the emotion to put into it to create it. It says, yes, this is what I want, because the emotional energy is the creative energy, right? That's the thing to remember. Emotional energy is creative energy, okay? And once we have done the creation, if we don't let go of it, if we don't just release that emotion and keep ourselves separated from what we are trying to create, we keep interrupting the process. Because we're putting more creative energy into something that's already on the way. It's kind of like I keep telling my grandsons when they're working with my tablet. They push the button, on the screen, and it doesn't do anything right away. And they keep going, boom, 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 boom. All right, what happens when you do that? Every time you push the button, it sends a message to the computer. And then you push it again, you send the same message. And what are you doing? You're starting the process all over again. Boom, boom, and eventually you push it enough, you're kind of like, you're going to screw up the whole works. So that's why it's so important to keep emotionally detached, because when we become emotionally attached, and we know we're emotionally attached when we keep saying, when's it going to get here? Where is it? What do I have to do to make it happen? And keep digging into things, and God, I've been so guilty of this so many times. How can I do this? Let me go ahead. I know this will help. Start doing this, that, and the other thing. And putting a different energy out there than what is already coming to me. I have to learn to trust the universe and the creative energies and processes that are in play to do what I originally asked for, but I don't necessarily get to say how that happens. I can say what I want, and I can be specific about how I want it to look or feel, but the how, the mechanisms, and the end result and the timing have to be left to the universe. We can't get in the middle of it. And that's important. I keep on emphasizing, and I'm shaking my table, so that's why my picture is going back and forth. But that's why I, talk so much about letting go of what's coming. Set it out there, let it go. It will come. Some things, And there is no such thing as a all manifestation is energetically equal. So it is no more difficult, say, to manifest. Yes, Michael. Yeah. Yep, you have to let it go. So, where was I? I just looked over there and got interrupted. But we have to be able to let go of what's going on so that we can move forward. That is the hardest thing, the faith and trust, because that is, how many things have we been tested on over the last years? And I don't like to use the word test because there's nobody up there keeping score. This is a person, we're testing ourselves, basically, is what it is. In being able to keep faith and trust. We keep getting squeezed, closer and closer and closer, stronger things coming in. And it isn't like we learn the lesson, okay, yeah, I got faith and trust down, and think that that's over. It just happens over and over and over and over again to the point where it is, we are in faith and trust. Period, end of story. I put this out here. I know it's going to happen, and I am going to sit back and trust that it's coming to me and go on about my business. And I know how hard this is. I can't tell you how many times I have been waiting for something to happen and wouldn't do anything else until it happened. That I would sit on my butt day after day after day waiting for this thing to happen. And you can't do that because that stalls the works. That's still an attachment. It wasn't an attachment that I was aware of until later, when my team made me see that no, once I set stuff in motion, I need to go on about my business. I need to wash my dishes and vacuum my floor and take care of my clothes and take care of my other business. Everything else doesn't have to wait for whatever it is I've manifested or intending to have happen or appear in my reality. And that's the way it has to work for all of us. We need to just, those commercials, what the heck is the brand? The old, the little oven thing, and you put it in and you set it and forget it. That's what you have to do. And my other favorite example that I've used is about going to a restaurant. You go to the restaurant, you sit down at the table, and you look at the menu. You place your order with the waitress. She takes the menu, goes away, puts the order into the kitchen, and in the meantime, she brings you your beverage, and you sit and you just enjoy yourself. You engage in conversation or whatever it is you're going to do while you're waiting for the dinner to appear. And you're not obsessing about the dinner appearing. You're not obsessing about how the chef is creating it or what the plate is going to look like when it comes to you. You're not obsessing about how the chef is doing what he's doing in creating your dinner. You put in the order and you know that it's coming to you and you leave it alone. You don't go walking into the kitchen to check on the chef. Boy, how that would get you. That wouldn't get you any points in that restaurant whatsoever. I'd be afraid to eat my dish if I ever did that. Because I know what chefs are like back in the kitchen. Been there, done that. So you got to put the order in and then you wait. And you let it come out and to you when it's ready. Now, if there's something going on that you're sitting there at the table for an hour and there's been no sign of your food and nobody said anything to you, yeah, then you ask. But that's like an extreme situation. But in everyday processes and things, that's the way it works. You put in the order and you just go about your business until it appears. And you can enjoy it. All right, so What is different about Divine Alchemy than Law of Attraction? As I touched on earlier, we have a whole other level of awareness and conscious creation to access when we are using Divine Alchemy and practicing Divine Alchemy. And Law of Attraction is just basically saying, gee, you know, universe, I'd really like to have $150 tomorrow. If you can get it, you know, if the timing is right, everything works out. I have this bill coming up and I really need the funds, you know, or I just spent this money on something I really like to have those funds replaced, or whatever it is, all right? You put that out there. And if you are detached and, you know, you just go about your business and wait for the universe to respond. So sometimes you might get the money, sometimes you might have some other kind, something else that happens, you know, depending on what you needed the money for. You may have wanted the money to buy a blanket, and instead of the money, you get somebody comes and gives you a blanket, just out of the blue, and it's exactly what you wanted, and the color is beautiful. And that's just the way it works. I can't tell you how many times I have said, okay, I'm really not needing, but, you know, I have this expense here that I want covered. You know, it's coming up that we have to have funds for. And I'd like to have these expenses replaced that I just spent. And I can't tell you how many times within no less than an hour, or no more than an hour, rather, I have had things come into me. Like bing, 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 it appears, because I've got to the place where I'm expecting it to happen. And that's the other key here, is expectation. So what are you expecting when you put in the order? What is, you know, are you expecting that you're going to get what you ordered, what you wanted, what you want to create, or not? You know, are you expecting something different? Are you expecting difficulty? Are you connecting to stuff in past history and different times where, like, you wanted something, you didn't get it, or it took forever, it didn't get there in time, or there was issues? You got to move away from that and move into a place of expecting that what you are intending you're going to receive or is going to happen. So there is, you know, you're working here in the Law of Attraction, you're kind of working in a pure mental, emotional, I want, and sending out the emotional. But when you get into Divine Alchemy, you're going up a couple of levels. You get up to, there are basically 3 levels of creation. The first one is what I call the idea. You know, what is it that you want? Why do you want something? What do you want to create? The idea. And then comes the second level, where in the etheric plane, where the blueprint and the templates and schematics all get created. Everything that needs to happen, all the parts that are necessary to bring into the physical plane or into reality the thing that your idea was trying to address. Or do you have a problem? You know, you have an idea, gee, I'd really like this. Or do you have a problem? Wow, I need a solution to this. You know, how can we do? And then you do the creation. Now, you don't have to know everything. And when we go into, you know, the course in Divine Alchemy, you know, I teach everybody, you don't have to know all the details of this level, because the universe has it all stored away. Everything that you need is already somewhere. You know, an infinite parts repository in the 0 point zone, in the void. It's all there. And in the, you know, in the Akashic records, there is almost nothing that you would want that hasn't already been created somewhere. And you're just bringing into your plane of existence these things are being, you may arrange them in a different way, you may have them serve a different purpose, but the universe and your angel teams and your spiritual teams all know, and your higher self all know what has to happen, what needs to be part of this in order to fulfill your intended purpose for it. Once that comes in, see, that's where the trust comes in. See, that faith and trust, if you're not got faith and trust, you're going to mess up at this level. This is not going to happen. And so once that's created, then Jamira and Ariel come in and they bring it down into the physical plane and manifest it, you know, and anchor it into the physical plane and bring the Gaia energies into it to anchor it and fill it out. If it's a physical, something physical, or whether it's something energetic, it still has to get anchored into the physical plane in order for you or your clients or whatever to use it, in order for it to be useful in the physical plane. Those are the steps that you take. So let's go in now, and there's more to come. We're going to go into the temple now, and we're going to get Archangel Jophiel and Saint Germain to come and clear us out and open us to stuff. Yeah, Jenny, you could, you know, when it comes to disease, if you're thinking of a cure for a disease like an antibiotic or a vaccine or something like that, we need to get a little bit higher. What we want to do is we want to eradicate the disease itself. It's not something that we've cured. We want to eradicate the patterns and the structures and the programs that create that disease experience in a person's matrix and physical body. You know, a lot of the diseases that we pick up aren't necessarily encoded into our DNA. They are coming to us and being embedded in our matrices from things like our generational matrix and, you know, family matrices, tribal matrices, other people, environments, you know, all kinds of things. Embed this into us with all of the patterns and access to the patterns and processes that create it in us very easily. We can do it. It has to be on an individual basis because everybody has soul contracts, free will. So we can do that on an individual basis. I've done that for long-standing sinus infections that I had. That I did the work to clear that pattern from me and clear out an infection that I had had for quite a long time. It was crazy, and we could talk about that another time. Okay. Welcome. Good question, though. Good question. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in the temple. And yeah, you can do it for clients too, Jen. I mean, this is just, you know, on an individual basis, yourself, other people individually, and we can work on things in the collective unconscious to detach from some of these things, but it's still a matter of free will and soul contract, which are just some more of the things that we need to be aware of when we're doing this work. Okay, take 3-4 deep breaths and blow them out, and let's get centered. Almighty and Most High Father, Mother God, I welcome you now to the Heartlight Temple of Angelic Healing once more, as I call it into place to surround all of us here now for this Hump Day Zoom devoted to Divine Alchemy. For all those here now and all those who will watch and receive later, who are represented by their higher selves and their guardian teams. I invoke this temple now, beautiful temple of divine light and love, surrounding us all and above and below. And I intend that this temple structure shall be maintained and sustained continuously throughout the remainder of this Hump Day session, being released only 10 minutes after the Zoom recording is shut down, and so it is. Heavenly Father, please sever all attachments from us, from within the temple to without. All who are here now and will come. All right, just whoever, somebody who's coming later has a really strong negative attachment. So if you suspect it might be you, get in touch with me so that we can ferret it out and clear it. Thank you. Thank you, Heavenly Father. I ask you to bless this space and love and light to our use and into our service in your name. So be it, and so it is. In all of our names, I revoke permission for these intrusions and attachments. Anything that is in opposition to your presence and your light, dear God, has no authority in this domain or in this temple. So be it, and so it is. I invoke my power over these things to the nth generation, beyond to infinity, and so it is. Thank you. I call now upon beloved Archangel Michael and your blue lightning angels to surround this temple space, to shield, defend, and protect it from all intrusion, interference, and attachments that are not of the light or in service to it. Are of entity, origin, intent, creation, design, or purpose, or in service to such, are not in service to our highest good, or are other than in full support of the goals and purposes for which this temple has been invoked this day. So be it, and so it is. From within and from without, Michael. Remove from us all attachments and remove all the entities coming to us through them. Remove them from us and from our environments and all other sources, objects, and locations. And take them all into the light, up through the roof of the temple, for divine dispensation by the one true God. Now, Michael, please clear the inner space of the temple of all that is not of the light or in service to it, and all that is of entity, origin, intent, creation, design, or purpose. Clear the inner space of the temple and everything in that space. Clear and shield any electronics that are offending. And sever all other attachments. And remove the entities and their presences from these objects and things. surrounding us that are in the temple space that we have brought into it by our presence. Remove the entity attachments from these things and from all other sources, objects, and locations, and take them all into the vortex of divine source, up into the lights, divine lights. And so it is. And please cleanse and purify this space, beloved Michael, and your angel teams, and perform the purification and protection protocols for the Hump Temple experiences for each one of us here now and in the future. I revoke permission for these things to exist in our domains at all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causation, past, present, future, on our timeline. Let us be free of these things. They have no authority in our domains that declare so. And I declare and intend that these things, everything sponsoring them, no longer exists in any of our domains to the full extent which it serves the highest good of all involved. All of this is taken into the light. And transmuted by it, and so it is. Thank you, Michael, and please clear from all of us in the temple space and the space itself anything and everything that would interfere with our receiving what we are here to receive this night, and with my and all of our divine discernments. Please clear from us anything that is blocking our discernment, our crown chakras and pineal and third eyes. There is no permission for this, and I cancel its authority in all of our domains and give it none to the nth generation beyond to infinity. These things are made impotent and inert in our domains in perpetuity. So it is. I declare that these things no longer exist in our realities, past, present, future, on our timelines, and at all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causation. So be it in God's name, and so it is. Thank you. I now call upon the angels, archangels, ascended masters, beloved Jesus, Mother Mary, Holy Spirit, higher self, guardians, and guides of all present here, whether they are physically present now or in the future. I call upon you, beloved ones, and I thank you for your presence here surrounding us. And I ask you to clear from this temple space and from all of us everything that is in resistance to your light and your love and your presence, regardless of its source or form or purpose. I grant these things no authority in any of our domains and in our realities. They have no authority in our realities to the full extent in which that God serves the highest good. Thank you. Michael, please cut and cauterize all cords and connections from us now. Sever them, cut and cauterize them, and send them outside the boundaries of the temple walls. Unclear from us everything that came through these connections that does not serve, as well as everything sponsoring these connections, which also does not serve the highest good of all involved. And so it is. Thank you. These things are to be kept outside the temple and not allowed to interfere or intrude upon the temple space throughout the remainder of this Hump Day session. And so it is. And Michael, I intend that you shall remain and your team shall remain in full presence and defense and protection of this temple space as long as it exists this day for this Hump Day session until it is released after the session is over. And so it is. Thank you. Okay. Little extra work to be done there. Somebody had some nasty stuff hanging in that was interfering with the energies in the temple. All right, so right now we're going to call in the beloved Archangel Jophiel. And the first thing that we're going to do is Jophiel is going to realign us and refit us or attune us, repair, reconstruct, restore, whatever needs to be done so that our creative abilities are fully online at their highest state of structure and function and well-being in alignment with our soul path and missions. Beloved Jophiel, I thank you for your presence here with us this day. And I thank you for coming today to tell me that this is what we need to do. So I turn things over to you now, dear one, and I ask you to go ahead and do your thing. Do what you came here to do. It benefits all of us. Now, if for any reason any of you do not want this, all you have to do now is say no. Yeah, one of the things that Jophiel is doing is, she's not just tuning you and correcting the repair work. There may be things that have been embedded in your creative energies and programs, constructs, devices, mechanisms, attachments from entity attachments and attachments from other people that are causing things in your life to be created, bringing negative stuff into your life that is not necessarily yours, right? There's a program maybe running that is causing negative garbage to be coming in that was attached to you and is running in your system without your awareness of it. So this is just one part of what Jophiel is doing for us all now, is clearing out any of that kind of stuff. She is restoring us to our divine templates and blueprints, upgraded to now to the ascension pathway and timeline, for us to move into the role of creators as we were meant to be. A lot of work. This is another part of us that was apparently in many ways corrupted by the dark grid and the false light grids and matrices and programs. They certainly didn't, they can't, as I already said, they can't shut off the creative switch, but they could certainly manipulate things so that we were creating things that worked in their favor, right? So that's part of what's being cleared away, is we're being reconstructed absent all of that, as we were meant to be. So if you're feeling all of this energy work here and thinking, oh my God, how did I get so far off? What is going on here? It's not all your thing. You know, a lot of this was put there by other sources and forces. Some of which also is digital, being infused into our systems by our association with Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and, you know, even Zoom, but not to as great a degree. If we hung around on Zoom all day, yeah, we'd have to worry about it, but no. But YouTube is really strong, and so is Twitter. Facebook is getting nastier and nastier by the day. Google. All right, Jophiel, are we done? Thank you, dear one. Thank you, thank you. All right, so beloved Saint Germain, we're going to call on you now and ask you to come forward and complete this process by clearing out anything in us that is hindering our ability to receive these things into the physical plane, manifest them in the physical. A lot of us, and I've had this experience a number of times, folks, is where I'm manifesting stuff and it's sitting out here and I know it is, but it won't come down here. It won't come into my experience, you know, it won't come here. And I can always tell when that, you know, this is happening. It will happen because I'll get clients, prospective clients, or people who I've already done business with who want something. And they're saying, okay, I'm going to send you this money, or I want to have an appointment next week, or I'm going to book an appointment with you for this. I want to do that. And they've basically already committed, but nothing ever appears down into the physical. The money does not show up here. The financial inflow does not show up for me. That's the biggest way in which I can recognize that I've got a block. I know it's out there. The commitment is there, but it's not showing up. And that's because there's a block to me receiving it, to letting it come into my reality. So Saint Germain is going to come clear all of that from us, the things that are getting in our way of the alchemical process, the fulfillment of the alchemical processes, is bringing it down, you know, out of the idea phase, and out of the design phase into the fulfillment and manifesting phase of it. So that's what we want to do, is we want to be able to receive it. We don't want to just create it. We want to have it, you know, we want it fulfilled. We want it to be in our space, in our experience. So Saint Germain is now going to do that for us. And thank you, dear one, so much. Whoa. And as you might notice, Saint Germain doesn't fool around. Yep. A lot of blocks going on here, a lot of big, strong blocks. In all of our names, I release all resistance to manifesting and receiving, and I revoke the authority of all things providing this resistance in all of our domains, at all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causation, past, present, future, and our timelines. So coming to us by any means, in any form, from any source, from any reason. So be it, so it is. Now, there's a lot going on, in the back of the heads, in a just a clear path of light and energy heading straight down the back of our heads, into our necks, and it's actually going to end up in our sacral chakra, because our sacral chakra is the place where our creative energies are stored, the creative process. That's where the engine is. And a lot of us have messed up sacral chakras. And that was Jophiel was working on some of that. But it seems that Saint Germain is actually doing more, because there is a lot of stuff messed up in our sacral chakras that is preventing that receiving and manifesting fully. The sacral chakra is the seat of creation and creative energies. And that's why in a lot of satanic and dark rites and rituals, that sexual intercourse or sexual arousal is such an important part of those, because rather than connect with divine source and open to your true divine manifesting powers, they are using the perverted sexual energies to foster that creative energy. All right, Saint Germain, remove, and Michael, remove any entities that are fostering any of this corruption and interference that have been hidden in our sacral chakras. Move them into the light. Take them up into the light of the temple dome. For divine dispensation of the one true God. So be it, so it is. Thank you, Michael. All right, are we clear, Saint Germain? Are the channels open and everything hindering, interfering with them or blocking them has been cleared, healed, and removed, including all entities, Michael, and anything fostering their entity presences? Please do so now. Okay. Thank you, beloved ones. Thank you, thank you. All right, take a few deep breaths in and blow it out to anchor all of this. And just say, you can just say say out loud, I claim this healing and repair for myself. Okay. All right, so I told you in the, I started tearing, fan blowing, that we would be teaching you just a little something that will help you understand how the alchemical process works, how it is different than just law of attraction. And in this exercise, we can create and we can also uncreate. We are the masters for the most part, not in everything, because we have, a lot of what we do and we participate in is a group endeavor. But we have group endeavor or part of our soul path or mission or process that we're going through. But we have the ability to change the hologram, change the program, to remove things from the program that we just don't want there anymore. And I'm sure that you all have things in your lives and that are going on with you personally. Maybe they're fears, maybe they're issues, maybe you're going through illness issues or things. Maybe you have an experience. Maybe you've got something going on with another person, or you got an issue going on with a job, a relationship, or maybe you've got a fear that you're dealing with. Anything of that nature. There's something that each one of you has that can easily be cleared from your reality, erased from your program. And Saint Germain is going to show you this. Each one of you has one of these things. We're going to work with him again like we did last week. And he's going to show you what the issue is that you can easily get rid of. You don't have to tolerate it anymore. You don't have to deal with it anymore. And having the issue to deal with distracts you from other things. So Saint Germain is going to show you. We're going to sit back, close your eyes, and let Saint Germain show you. And when I say show, either you're going to get a visual of it, or you're going to get a message, or you're going to get a clear cognizant, the knowing, or you're going to get some kind of a vibrational signal. Somehow you will understand and know what it is. And most of you right now, I'm sensing, already have that. It's coming to the top of your consciousness right now. But he's going to clarify that, what the issue is, that you have the ability to just say, no, we're not doing this anymore. And then I'll show you how. All right, so close your eyes. All right, Saint Germain, please come and show us all the issues, whatever it is that we're targeting today for this session, to help everyone learn the true extent of their own power. Okay. All right, so Saint Germain has given you an idea of what it is that you have, and I have muted you all when we went into the temple and into the meditation. But if you would like to share what it is that you have, you've been shown, I would love to hear it, and then we'll move into the next part of it. So you can unmute yourself and share what it is if you'd like to. If it's too personal, you don't have to do that, or you can put it in the chat box. What it is Saint Germain showed you that you can clear out. And then I'll show you how to go about doing that. How simple it is. All right, everybody's going to stay silent. Hopefully you're all awake. Naima, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm awake.
Good.
I had 3 cups of coffee.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. Mike, how about you? Do you have anything you wanted to share?
Yes, it's funny because I start to follow a class. It's called Lecture Antenna. And the picture I was shown is Saint Germain himself. So I got that little picture that is following me every time.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because when you talk about the sacral area, this is very important because this is the place once it's healed that will allow to anchor, to manifest what we came here to do. So it's very important that that place is clear of any kind of entities, energies, or whatever people they live. And when we did the last exercises, it's funny because I have a very clear image of Saint Germain himself holding a crystal ball and a pyramid crystal that I have in this room. And so I know I was given symbols, I was given a way to work with that. So I will start working today for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So if anybody else has anything to share, now's the time. Otherwise, we'll go into showing you how to clear this and to remove it from your reality. And that's basically what you do. All right. So for me, I'm going to take just as an example, and I was shown this, and for some reason it never occurred to me before. Duh. It's a learning curve as we learn how to use these things and to employ them, that we have, like these limitations, these limiting thought processes and boxes that we say that, okay, we can use this for here, but it never occurs to us that we can also use it for here or someplace else or something else. So what I was just shown is, as you all know, I've got an issue where I have a car that is DOA sitting out in front of my apartment, and I've just been told that I can use this process to help clear that from my manifesting pipeline. So what you will do is, when you have something like this that just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, and things like this do, You know, they're just going to keep coming to you and coming to you and coming to you. Either it's an ego process or an external trigger that will bring stuff to you that you really don't need to deal with. You don't want to deal with. You've been there, done that. And it serves no good purpose for your path or your highest good or anything else. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the process, and it's very simple. So for me, it is having this vehicle sitting out here that I cannot use. And so what I am going to do, and you're going to basically remove it from your reality. And you say, how can you do this? Well, I've done this with clients. I do it with myself. Trust me, it works. Literally, when you're working with it, if you're connected to the energy of it, you can literally feel it just go, it's gone. And it really is quite amazing. So what you do, and I'll give you the example, is that I intend that having or not having a dependable means of independent transportation, I intend that that situation is no longer part of my reality in any iteration in which it now exists or ever would. And wow, the energy of that is just like, holy moly. Past, present, future on my timeline. I'll clear this, and then I'll walk you through it. Awesome. There's a lot of stuff invested in that I didn't realize. See? Awesome. Okay, so take the thing that you have been shown that you can use this for right now, and just repeat after me, filling in the blanks. Is I intend that, and after you say I intend that, then fill in the situation, whatever it is. I intend that, whatever the situation is, this illness, this situation with another person, this fear, the worry, whatever, okay? Whatever it is you've been shown, I intend that. State the situation. After you're done stating the situation, I intend that, fill in the blank, no longer exists in my reality. And because things tend to get recreated, reinstalled, redone, then we add in any iteration, and iteration means form. In any iteration or evolutionary form, iteration, in any iteration in which it now exists or ever would be created. Past, present, and future on my timeline. Oof. I feel there's a lot of clearing going on. Let's just let it move through. And so it is. All right, so let me type that message in. I intend that. situation or issue no longer exists in my reality. In any iteration in which it is now present or ever will be. Past, present, future. So it is. Okay, so that's it. I intend that whatever it is, was, situation, issue, no longer exists in my reality in any iteration in which it is now present or ever would be, not every, or ever would be, past, present, and future. And so it is. You can do that for any situation that comes up that you want to clear, that you want to get out of your experience. You know, you could also say no longer exists in my reality. You could also say no longer exists as part of my experience. Done. You know, you could plug that in there. So you can do it either way. If you're doing as part of my experience, might be something that maybe somebody else is going through, that has been kind of flowing through into your reality and your experience that you really don't want anymore. So you want to get it out. You know, say, I don't accept this in my experience anymore. Nope, they can have it. But in your reality just says, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're shutting that out of the program. Gone, done. Out of the soul sphere and the timeline, the whole 9 yards. So that's how that works, and you can use it and you can play with it. You know, if you got something going on, you know, like if you've got something like fibromyalgia going on, and you know, there are a lot of wounds and fears and things that go into a lot of our illnesses. So, and this is something for you to be aware of when you use this too, because everything is linked to something else. So if we say, you know, I intend that this fibromyalgia is no longer no longer exists in my reality with the rest of any iteration. Okay. The fibromyalgia might disappear right away, but more likely what's going to happen is you will become aware of and release the root causes and sources that are sponsoring that physical response in your body. So it might not be an immediate thing. It could be that it will clear the root causes. And if it's something that's part of your soul mission or path that to be made aware of, that you can then just say, okay, you know, I no longer accept this as part of my reality. So it may be in a couple of different phases that you have to do this in order to clear the end result. When you've been dealing with something for a while and it's got a lot of stuff behind it, you know, you may have to go back and just say, I intend that this no longer exists in my reality. Boom, done. Let's get it out of here, you know. So that's the basics of doing that. Does anybody have any questions about this at this point? Because or anything that you want to share when we went through this? Because after what we're going to do next is I'm leaving open time for people to for the students from the Divine Alchemy course to share a little bit about their experience.
I'll put that away.
And tell us, what it was that they wound up creating. I intend at some point here soon that I am going to be setting up another course schedule for the alchemy course. So if any of you are interested in that, the outlines for it is all on the group page. It's in the notes somewhere, and I can repost it. I will do that. But let me know if you're interested in learning more about what to do and how to do it. And I want to open up the floor now to Mike and Naima and to Susan to share what they did, what they created as part of the course project, and anything that you all have to say about what you've been doing with what you learned since then and how you're using this knowledge. And any other questions that anybody else wants to ask. So, please chime in. Now's the time.
Just for myself, I really appreciate to follow your class in the Divine Alchemy. It's like reintegrate notions and learn a lot, about how to apply what was scattered informations and be able to do it in my own life, to manifest things. Matter of fact, I badly need a new car. Finally, everything in a matter of a few days just happened. I got a brand new truck, but it's not a brand new truck. It's a model 2000, but it looked brand new and 91,000 kilometers. So I'm really glad. This is just
awesome.
about the material aspect, but so many other, I would say, issues that were not resolved are starting to be resolved, and some are completely clear out. So thank you for having built that class and share it with people.
Yeah, it really, when you get into those higher levels and you understand how everything operates, and you start working at that level, it's you see results more quickly. You see them coming to you, and the faith and trust thing is easier because you understand how it works and what you're doing and what your role is in it. It's not just, okay, I'm going to ask for this and somebody else is going to do it. No, you're part of the creative process and you understand that, which makes a big difference. So thank you, Mike, for sharing that. And Mike had a project that he did for the alchemy course, the Divine Alchemy course, in which he created what would you call it, a program, Mike?
Yeah, it's a kind of program that is connected to, I would say, our chakras, like if people are aware about what the old Indian sage were talking about, the main channel that go inside of us. In fact, it's aligned with the spinal column. But there is a place there that is specific for the creation, and we talk about the sacral region and all that. And this is especially the place when we can co-create and create and manifest our reality. And it's funny that you talk about that earlier. So there was a way to access that place and or that chakra. In fact, it's called the second chakra, and that really make a good all the difference in your manifesting power. So
Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, it was awesome, and that part of his project, we all had it installed in us. It resurrected our what might call the sacred DNA,
yeah.
and illuminated and activated that. So that was very cool. All right, Naima, how about you? You want to share your project?
I haven't actually shared my project yet, have I?
No, you haven't.
Because I missed the yeah.
Let's share that. Share the first one that you did about the smoking.
Oh, the cloud, the smoking. Wow. That one. The first one was the program I did about the smoking, stopping smoking cigarettes, and that was the one I put it when I was holding my cigarette packet, the box, and feeling the texture and how disgusting it was. Not so. Excuse me. That's the one I did in the cloud project. And I was actually kind of meditating on it, looking at it and holding it and feeling how horrible that cigarette was and how my life would be without the cigarette, how clean, how my clothes would smell nice, and I would not have to hold the cigarette or light the cigarette, how beautiful it would be without it. Instead, I was replacing it with some kind of roses and nice smell and gorgeous things that I really like, and that completely putting me off the bad habit. I was it was more like a thought, but the first thing was just the life without cigarette is the one I put in my cloud. And I did it for a week, and by the end of the week I didn't touch the cigarette, and it was just becoming more exciting, more freedom, without the urge of trying to grab the cigarette or looking forward to have a cup of tea and a cigarette or stuff like that. So it was kind of I was building new life without the cigarette, and I could see my life without the packet of cigarette or running to the shop to grab one.
Yeah, awesome. And so you're still smoke free, right?
Yes. That's more than 3 months now.
Awesome. See, there are practical uses for these things, people. It isn't just all pie in the sky, metaphysical woo-woo stuff. This is practical, real world stuff that we got to do. And I was just so impressed about, her doing that and bringing that into her reality. So, all right, Susan, how about you? You want to share what your project was and what you created for the class?
Well, I've taken what I've created maybe a little bit further. How far did I take it during the class?
I don't know. I can't remember. I know that it was aligning us, centering us, and aligning us.
It was basically aligning, I think, the original spark.
Yeah.
I was aligning you guys to 0 point through my roadmap of the M12D. And now what I'm starting to do is just really, really anchor it, like so that it's usable for people.
Okay, cool. So are you creating this as a matrix or as a program?
Well, it's like a program.
Okay.
It is tied into the matrices, but I don't see the matrix as something we're trapped in.
Well, no, I'm talking about, are you creating it as a structure that's attached to our matrix.
It's a structure that we're all connected into.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it a matrix, and I would call it more, it's more divine alignment
Mm-hmm.
than it is a program per se,
Yeah.
because it is what creates that freedom
Mm-hmm.
of our ability to be able to do the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like when I did all the work on timelines and I did all the work on the calendars, where I got into, you know, how it all connects to each other.
Uh-huh.
I began to see how I connected into it.
Uh-huh.
And then I began to see how the cosmos is all connected.
Right.
And it's kind of like, do we follow the stars or do the stars follow us? Or are we all kind of in sync with it? So
Right.
what my program kind of did was got the people that were in the course in sync with the cosmos, and the cosmos in sync with them. So it isn't like you're being controlled or you're controlling. It's like you're opening up and you're divinely aligning. And like with me, I work with things like Zagzagiel, the ancient angel of knowledge, wisdom, and magic, and Saint Germain. And it's allowed me to align myself with my guardian angels and the team. So it's like I have like a team of 12 who have 12, which is 144. So a lot of the magical numbers that we've been looking for show up in my work.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like 144 becomes 288, becomes 432, and 432 is a magical number.
Right.
So
Awesome.
with me, it was divine. My project, I guess, was divinely aligning energy through color, frequency, light, sound, tone, and vibration in the lower 6 levels, and then transporting that into the equations that we will ascend with, while anchoring the descension at the same time. So in other words, the higher you can go, the deeper you have to root yourself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Wonderful. The and that was, I mean, and you, if you're listening to Mike and Naima and Susan and thinking, oh my God, I can't do all that. Trust me, everybody uses alchemy to enhance and make better and benefit the work and the talents and the abilities that they already have, whatever knowledge, whatever field you're working in, wherever you are, you know, whatever your thing is, that's what you're going to do. I didn't ask anybody to do anything that was outside of what their core soul mission is and desires. So that's what everybody does. So if you learn the alchemy, that's what you would be doing too. So I wanted to share also, we had Rochelle Scheid was another student in the class, and she did she constructed something that was really kind of fun. She's very much into angels. And all about, and I can understand, I can connect with her, I can sympathize with her. She's all about doing things in the simplest possible way in the least amount of time, condensing things, you know, instead of spreading them out. And what she created was something that she called an energy womb. It's an energetic construct, and it contains all of the instructions needed to help us, you know, in whatever way we need throughout the day, to have the energy and all of the tools and the focus and everything that we need to get through the day, prescribed by our higher selves and our guardian team, and brought to us by an angel team that was part of that construct. So, and she calls that the energy womb. And it really is quite amazing. You do it every day. You call in, you know, you just say, look, whatever is being called for today, I call in this energy womb. You know, I call the angels of the energy womb and ask to receive what is being prescribed for me, you know, this day. And you can also ask it to do specific things like, gee, I really could use, a little bit of help with what I'm doing here. So if there's anything that you can add to, you know, give me a little bit of a push or an oomph for assistance in this area, I would appreciate it. And it gets downloaded into your system. So, you know, any of these people, if you want to talk to, and we had Deb Riesbeck was one, and she used it to create a kind of a time loop for her clients' sessions to help her in her healing work, which was awesome. So if you want to talk to any of these people, you know, about receiving what they created, they will certainly be more than glad to set up a session with you to receive it. They really did good work. What?
Oh, I thought I was on mute.
Naima, you've got a cold. My goodness. All right, so that's, you know, I wanted to share all of those things because I want you all to know that, you know, there's so much more to our experience and our possibilities than we have any idea of when, you know, we stepped on this path and said, okay, I'm going. And it is all blossoming so quickly, and we all really need to use it. And I'm hoping that you all get really good use out of this piece of alchemical control, this basically creation, uncreation, controlling your environment and your hologram. And if any of you have any questions about using that and how you can use it, what to best use it, or if you are using it and finding that you're having somehow it isn't working the way you're expecting it to work, just contact me. Well, you know, we'll talk about it. You know, I'm always available for that kind of stuff. So, love you all. I thank you all so much for being here tonight, and I hope that you have gotten out of this something that will assist you moving forward. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. And if you're interested in learning more about your true alchemical powers and gifts, you text me, message me, and let me know, and we can talk about it. So love you all. Blessings on this hump day. And boy, it's the 10th of July already, and that's just blowing me away. So have a good evening. Have a good weekend, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.